So first question for you, how did your mayor competition come about on Foursquare?
The mayor competition came about because I was doing my job as mayor, minding my business, serving the people, when my friend Jennifer McNulty checked in right after me and said, when she checked in, she shouted, "I want to be the mayor of this place and oust Baratunde."
Okay.
So I think it started as an act of aggression. But then we started talking that night, and drinks were drinking, words were said, hashtags were born, and we thought we could really do this and have some fun with it. So we had an instigator who was a friend of mine who kept egging her on and egging me on and really amplifying the situation.
So now I've seen it actually cited as an example of how to use Foursquare.
Right.
When did it start taking on that type of reputation?
The campaign?
Well, yeah, the campaign.
Sure. I mean, I think from the start, the campaign, we wanted to make it not just about checking in. I think you look at a lot of mayor wars that have been cited out there. The New York Times did a big story about this this summer, left us out of it, which I thought was really shoddy journalism, quite honestly, because we had the most creative campaign in the history of the thing. But we also used the platform. We left tips about the drinks we had made up. We left tips encouraging people to try this or to join this hashtag or follow us on Twitter. We tried to get swarms of people so we could get a swarm badge going at the venue. We certainly learned the entire menu and the entire staff. And so in terms of mayorship of a venue, I mean, what you've got is a system that is explicit, that is trying to cover for things that have been implicit for years. Cheers didn't have a mayor, but it would have been Norm.
Sure,
right? And so you have these situations where like real regulars aren't being recognized and their knowledge is possibly deeper than the Foursquare mayor. We also were kind of bringing those together by getting so deep into the business and not just showing up every day, but learning everybody's name, finding out what the employees do. And when we actually worked there, I mean, that was real commitment. So I think there was a joke to it, but it was also like, what does it really mean to be committed to a place and to contribute something to it as well as get something out of it? And I think we definitely did that far beyond the check-in.
So platforms like Foursquare, like Twitter, are those actually blurring the boundary between online and offline?
We've been blurring that boundary for a very long time. I think Foursquare probably does among the best jobs because the thing that I get most out of Foursquare is not the mayor thing, because you can only have one mayor. It really is the tips, and then that's sort of undersold for me. I don't even mean to like pitch the company. I just like what they're doing. Other people are doing similar things. But the idea that if I go to a restaurant, which is very common in New York because no one cooks at home much, but if you go to a restaurant, you find something you like, you want to tell your friends about it. How useful is it if I had dinner last night to tell you today, try the salmon? You're not there. When you're next there, if you ever get there, you're not going to remember what I said today. It's misplaced in time and space. And what they do is help distribute information where it's most relevant. As you're checking in or nearby, you can see what sort of tips have my friends left near here? What are the most popular things to do in the area? So it sort of helps you explore your environment. And the web has done that. You've had blogs that are about travel. You certainly had food blogs and try this blogs. Yelp does it. But the idea of bringing it proactively and sort of serendipitously to your attention makes it a bit more natural. It keeps your friend's information with you and thus keeps your friend with you.
So switching gears a little bit, is comedy one of the few things that people will actually pay for online?
People won't pay for anything. I mean, I don't know where you get the idea that comedy is more unique. People pay for porn. I think that's one of the few things people will actually pay for online. Comedy, I haven't done any studies. I don't know that there is a higher correlation between paid content on the comedy scale versus other types. I would imagine it actually goes porn, then business intelligence, right? Some sort of high-speed stock exchange information so you can screw the world with your financial shenanigans faster than the next guy is going to screw the world with his financial shenanigans. There's so much free comedy online. In fact, especially with YouTube, a cat playing a hamster, playing a piano, playing a bongo is 30 seconds of joy that might have gone towards something paid. So I think it's very competitive, in fact, to do comedy online and expect to get compensated directly for it. However, sponsorship opportunities are really interesting. If you're not talking about end users paying, we're talking about brands who want to have some coolness associated with their products. I think you see that happening. College Humor does a lot of that pretty directly and pretty successfully. They have their own studio for it. And straight advertising, against media if it's high quality enough. That's what The Onion does. We're a traditional media company that charges advertisers for access to our high quality audience.
So the last question I have for you, and it kind of taps into the engendering the audience. Is comedy one of the few areas where you've seen actual evangelism take place online? I'm thinking of something like XKCD, right? Where people love it.
Yeah.
Or The Onion, people love it. People go there consistently. Is there a lesson there for other media organizations, or is this just something that only works in comedy?
I don't think that the level of sort of community love or engagement that you get around comedy is purely unique to comedy, but it is somewhat unique to comedy because it's funny. There's, the internet's a great distraction. It's a great tool, but it's a really great distraction. So if you're at school and supposed to be studying, if you're at work and supposed to be strategizing, you can go to the Oatmeal or Hyperbole and a Half or a bajillionhits.biz, which is my new favorite site now, and have a laugh about how absurd things are. And if you're a very serious person engaged in politics, there's a comedic statement about that. If you're really into sports, there's a comedic statement about that. So it's sort of a parallel world that reflects on ours and says, it's okay to be stressed out, here's an exit. Here's a stress relief. It's like a little massage you can give yourself every day. Not that kind of massage. Don't think that way. That massage costs a lot more money. But that's how you monetize the internet.
That's right.
Yes, we solved it.
Massages.
We solved it. Oh,
Right.
I'm so excited. Tell Rupert Murdoch. Anyway, I think comedy, I'm arguing against myself, but I do think comedy is unique in its ability to be relevant at every stage of our society, at every dimension and stage, because there's always a credible commentary that can come from great comedy.
Right.
And the internet provides us with so many different ways to access it in so many different kind of media. You can watch a video, you can listen to audio, there's a funny song, there's the auto-tune guys, there's an endless supply of especially satire and parody, and our world kind of sucks right now in so many ways.
Sure.
So I think especially now it's more relevant because it's so relevant to everything else that's going on.
Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
really
Matt.
appreciate it.